every cent, how much gas was, how many miles, how much we can eat.
That's what I
allow
said. Today, I'm an old school guy.
Mm-hmm.
They should only pay once a month
For.
your pay for the pay that you get for working for a company. You could budget your money better. See, I was only used to paid once a month.
Oh, okay, okay.
When I started work, I never got paid every week or every 2 weeks. I had to work a full month before I got my first pay.
Wow.
The money ran out, why?
Yeah. You could borrow some or else you didn't do anything.
Well, you didn't.
Well, I think it's just management. Regardless, you know,
Yeah,
whenever
you're
you get
right.
the money, you could run out of it.
And she made the best budget I ever had. See, we had utilities and car payment and electric and gas and a couple other payments. What we had left, that's what we lived on. The only other thing I was able to make out on, if I'd help somebody get an automobile running or fix their equipment, I got a few bucks for it, I'd give us a little spending money.
And that did happen a few times. Like, we're on the last loaf of bread.
Mm.
Somebody come along, he'd make a buck back then, you know, you could buy it for under $1 too.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lord was good.
Mm.
It really was. I mean, we never went hungry.
That's amazing.
It is, it really is when you think back.
Yeah.
Those things I can remember.
But if I'm not sure, I'm not afraid to ask, but there's people out here, they don't know what to do, they're confused. Better ask, say, what do I do, or how do I do it, or,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Well, Grandma, a question I asked Grandpa just kind of goes back to the family name. You're being a king, maiden name a king. What does it mean to be a king?
I was thinking about that when you asked about Webb. Definitely not mechanic.
Okay.
We're not mechanically inclined at all. I mean, it was mostly just hard work.
Mm-hmm.
You worked made a living with your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Where Ray would use levers and stuff to make loads lighter. You know, you used your back.
Mm-hmm.
So completely different.
I remember you taught me how to wring a rag out.
Oh.
I'll never forget that right here in the kitchen.
He still can't ring.
I just squeezed it and you said, no, you take it, and you use both hands and you wring it.
Oh, I don't remember that. He still squeezed. I said, Ray, wring that washcloth, please. I'm standing there, you know, and the water's...
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a man-woman thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, try to squeeze it as hard as you can.
See, you're not alone after all.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still doesn't ring anything unless I tell him to.
Yeah, I'll never forget that day. Yeah, that was a good time. Yeah. So work hard with your hands. Okay.
Basically, that's what it was. I mean,
That's what she was.
Better work.
She should have went to nurses training school. She had the ability.
No,
Mm-hmm.
not then. I didn't.
Yeah, it did.
As I look back now, I often wish I would have worked within the hospital setting.
Yeah.
But
As
I
far
didn't
as-
have the smarts to be a nurse or anything. But the more I'm around a hospital, the more I like everything about it, working with people. But back in my day, you went to hospital to die.
Mm.
Nobody went to hospital, just like Ray was saying about his grandpa and, you know,
Yeah.
you didn't doctor. I never went to
Yeah.
a doctor until I took a physical to go to work at 17.
Wow.
You know, you don't hear that nowadays.
Yeah. You know, I forgot to ask Grandpa, what happened? Did your dad recover from that?
Oh yeah.
He went back to work afterwards.
His left cheek, if you ever seen my dad, always hung down, cut the nerve here.
Okay.
He had a big scar.
But he was able to go back to work. It wasn't like he
Oh,
had
yeah.
to stop working. Okay. Okay.
It was really bad for him because things backed up. That's when he went to work for CBT. They needed welders, and he went in. That was during the war, you see.
Okay.
And he made out good there.
Okay.
He knew what to do when they went up there to weld for the CBT.
Okay. But you didn't go to hospitals. That's kind of the example.
Never to the
No.
hospital.
And like I say, it's all you ever heard as a child. Somebody went to hospital.
Ooh.
They're going to die.
Yeah.
That's the reason they're there.
Yeah. So medical technology and care have improved.
Oh my. Oh my, yes.
We were both born at our homes.
At home.
Wow.
She was born in the house she lived in down there.
Hmm.
And even to go to the dentist up till we were married, that's why I have so many teeth out. You didn't make an appointment. You went and you sat to your turn. If you had one filling, fine. If you had 10, you
Fine.
sat there and had 10.
Wow.
And there was no medication, no
Wow.
Novocaine.
Oh
Like,
my.
you know, and you could get a tooth pulled for 50 cents, but it cost you $1 to fill it, so cheaper if you didn't have money. So, you know, a lot of things have changed for the better.
Yeah.
Those part of the good old days weren't so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Ask this then. Grandpa didn't do so well. I'll ask you this question. Grandpa's name, Ray, means, or Raymond, advice, decision protector, a wise protector. How has that defined him?
Very, very much. He's always been my protector, my pillar. He says I'm the pillar, but he was the solid one.
Mm-hmm.
Now and then I get a little flighty, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I could always depend on Ray being solid and being there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes the identity comes from a family heritage and a name, and we get
Yeah.
placed on us.
Yeah, I think it ran sort of in his family. They were more calm. I don't know. They
More friendly.
definitely that. More loving.
Yeah.
And, you know, you were just more of a calm nature.
Mm-hmm.
She never went to visit her uncles and cousins.
You
Not too
visit
much.
anybody.
Yeah, that's what Grandma was saying. You guys never visited family much.
Mm-mm. Didn't have anybody in. We didn't go anywhere. Didn't belong to any clubs. Of course, didn't go to church. Anything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Went to school, which I hated,
Yeah.
with a passion.
Now, did you graduate high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the skin of my teeth, but I did.
Okay.
She was even a queen.
Oh, it's in the prom, honey. It had nothing to do with.
Prom.
Prom queen?
Well, no, I was in the
In the
court.
court.
Yeah,
Oh, cool. Okay.
for 2
Yeah.
years, junior and senior year. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. Right up there.
Leave it to Grandpa to remember that.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't around.
I didn't remember to. I couldn't. I'm seeing all that stuff going on. I even knew some girls that she went to school with before I knew her.
Okay.
See, that's what I said. I have a different story than he has.
What's that story about meeting?
Well, he remembers me on the tractor, see.
Oh, okay.
That I said I was a very unhappy teenager. And I, of course, I didn't know about giving my life to the Lord. And I was, like I say, very unhappy. And I said, if there really is a God, I want to meet somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I said he had to be tall, had to be dark, and good looking.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Ray.
Yeah.
And he never proposed to me. Now, get this. He never proposed to me. I don't know how we got married, except for the fact that the Lord said, you know, this is good. You two are going to be married. But I
Yeah.
wasn't very mature
Yeah.
at that age, at 18, so he took Ray away for 2 years.
Okay, in
He
the
gave
Army?
me 2 years to grow up on and to save for the future. It was God, not me on the tractor.
And I left her for 2 years.
Yeah. That's my story.
While you were in the service?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were married 3 months and he left, and it was the best thing that could have happened to our
Wow.
marriage.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
so that's my side of the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you come to the Lord?
1960.
1960. Okay.
It was a revival meeting at Grace.
Okay.
I went forward and made my decision.
Wow. So you'd been married all before then, and
Oh yeah, we was married
had
in
2
52.
kids, and
hmm
anything you remember about that?
Not really. Ken Schaefer was the one that was talking, but I don't remember really what the sermon was,
Okay.
other than being convicted, you know.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit drawing you and
Mhm.
going forward. Wow, that's pretty neat.
And like I say, we were not a church family,
Okay.
so I didn't know anything. A lot of the questions I'd ask Ray, he really didn't have answers at that point.
What type
No.
of questions did you ask?
Well, just, I couldn't understand the Trinity for one thing, you know.
Okay.
This just, when you,
The 3 in 1.
yeah, don't make sense. Now, do I pray to God? Do I pray to Jesus? Do I, you know, and this kind of stuff. And it just didn't make sense. And it took a while to
Yeah.
get it figured out. And a lot of Sunday school classes and whatnot where you know, gradually learn all these things.
What other questions? Just the Trinity was probably.
Oh, just, you know, I didn't understand salvation in itself, you know. What do you mean give your life to God? How do you give life to God, you know? I mean, your life. And just things like this was very confusing to me.
Sure.
Now it seems so simple as you look back.
Yeah.
And like I say, after a lot of good teaching,
Uh-huh.
and of course there has been a lot of good teachers at Grace. I had a lot of good Sunday school teachers.
Yeah.
And, of course, just reading the Bible more on my own and stuff and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit is very good in instructing and teaching and helping us understand.
Because, well, Hillary kind of informed us. You know, you'd have some questions, and one was about favorite book or Bible verse,
Yeah.
and I kept saying, Ray, I have so many, I can't just pinpoint one. And even the book, I opened the Bible. There's a season for everything. Yes, I say that.
Ecclesiastes.
Yes, I say that so often. There's a time for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could learn to wait on the Lord's timing, I'm one of these, you know, let's move it out here, let's move on fast. And I think that's probably been one of my biggest drawbacks, this learning to wait.
Mm-hmm.
But,
That's a common theme throughout the Scripture.
yeah, and everything's vain. So why work for
Yeah.
everything? You're going to give it up anyways.
Yeah, even the disciples wanted to rush Jesus, and he said, "No, my time has not come."
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that I do like that. I really like that.
Ecclesiastes. I think it's Ecclesiastes 3.
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, there's so much good in Proverbs, and all of a sudden, like, I don't know which one I can pinpoint
Sure.
as mine, you know.
Sure. Huh. And Grace has had a lot of great preachers and pastors throughout the years
definitely,
as well.
definitely.
Cunningham was one of our best ones.
Yeah, Cunningham
Yeah.
was
Fred,
very
is that
good.
Fred Cunningham?
Yes.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I
And
know.
Ira and Deck was pretty good.
They all were. I had.
Oh, yeah.
Who was before Fred?
Riss Miller.
Okay.
Fink was one married us.
Yeah, Fink was first.
Fink.
Fink, Riss Miller.
But they didn't have counseling then like they do now before you get married or anything, you know. I don't know, just things like that have improved too.
Yeah.
An awful lot.
So your wedding day, you got married in 1952.
hmm
Anything particular about that day, or
Other than it was Monday night, and that's very unusual.
you got married on a Monday night?
hmm
I don't think I knew that. Huh.
Yeah. June the 30th, which was my mom and dad's wedding anniversary.
Okay.
And my brother Raymond got married on June the 30th, 4 years previous. So I went with June the 30th.
Wow.
So there was the three of us had the same wedding anniversary. But then it fell on a Monday, that's why.
Okay. Huh. Okay. So you wanted to have it on the 30th?
hmm
Okay.
And it was very plain, nothing.
Yeah.
We met at the church. Ray's brother stood for him, Mom stood for me. We just had brothers and sisters. Went home and had cake and ice cream, and that was our wedding. And
Wow.
yeah.
That's
We
pretty.
we got a little cottage to stay in. We found people from Pittsburgh,
Okay.
rented it till I went to the service. Nice little cottage.
Oh, it was nice little honeymoon.
Oh, so you lived there for 3 months?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a nice honeymoon. 3 months.
hmm
Yeah,
It was a nice little place.
yeah. We both worked, and we only had one car. So Mom, she drove the car to work most of the time. I could ride home with us all.
Okay.
Yeah, he worked in Hamilton. You know what? The guy came right past where we lived, and I worked in Parker at the time.
Okay.
And I worked evenings, so I was just ready to quit when he got the notice to go to the service. So I stayed and worked for the
Yeah.
next
Save.
2 years.
Wow.
She made levels, little glass levels.
Do you have any yet? Or do you...
I have a couple stuck away, just little levels, and actually the owner of it, he made little earrings with little wee levels in, you know,
Yeah.
and they never was level, so it was always like, boy, she's not very level-headed, you know. But yeah, it was interesting. So I was able, like I say, to work for the next 2 years, and that's really gave Ray and I the start we had, you know, financially, because I could pay the car off and had some furniture bought by the time you came home and
She had an apartment for us.
Had an
That
apartment
was really
already
a good
to-
surprise.
go
Wow.
into.
We moved into a house when I got out. We didn't have to live with our parents. We was in
Yeah.
a private house,
That's good.
apartment.
That's
It
good.
was in Emletton, so Ray walked up the street to work, and
Wow.
so it worked out real good.
Yeah. That would be very nice, convenient.
Very convenient.
Save a lot of money as far as
Yeah.
gas. And
Mhm.
so it sounds like you've described a lot of what Grandpa has done for you, but is there anything else you'd like to share as far as what Grandpa has meant to you?
I guess life itself almost to me.
We made.
I don't know. The older you get, the closer you get, Dustin.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing to me how close we have become the last few years. And it's almost scary at the same time because, at our age, one is probably likely to go ahead of the other. And like, boy, I don't know, it'd be so lonely.
Mm-hmm.
But not scary in the fact that we both know where we're going
Yeah,
and know that where the other will be.
yeah,
So that part isn't scary. But living alone,
yeah,
not having anybody to make those mechanical decisions for me,
yeah.
because he does all that,
Fix a water pump. This ain't running right.
Yeah, it's car won't start with Ray,
Before we got married, we went to Wheeling, West Virginia one night, or one Saturday, and we never got home till 4 in the morning. Her mother didn't like that too good.
Well, back then you didn't take a girl out of state. You just didn't.
Well, that was before you got married, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't go alone. We was
No,
with your brother.
another couple. But going down to Wheeling, that was get out of there before 12. And back the old roads, there were no interstates.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, old state roads.
When did the interstates come in the 60s? Late 50s?
Yeah, about 60, 65. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. 80 opened, Sherry's just a little,
Mm-hmm.
and they opened the bridge down there.
Well, Grandma, do you have a favorite childhood memory?
That's hard to say. I really don't have too much memory other than, like I say, you didn't go anywhere, so you're very content just being there, doing everyday things.
She had
Whether it's
to
playing in the barn or,
take care of the chickens, gather the eggs.
yeah, but it
Then
was
you're-
work, but it was, as I look back, it was fun work. I never minded doing that,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't think of it as work.
Her and her brother went down camping one night down by the river.
Yeah.
You wouldn't let your kids
I
now
wouldn't let my kids go there.
leave that house and go clear down the river, snake-infested woods.
down by the river, and it's
How
all
old?
rattlesnakes and everything else. And we had big tents in. They was canvas. They were hard, and nevertheless, we had 2 bicycles, and we loaded them up with all our night gear and went down there and stayed all night and was home, I don't know, by noon that next day because the sun was bright, came up early, and we didn't realize what time because you didn't even have a watch then. Yeah. But I think about it since, boy, I'd never allow my kids
To do that.
to do that. No, not
Yeah.
along that river with all the rattlesnakes and
Man,
stuff.
Oh, copperheads.
I don't think I've ever
Copperhead.
seen them there.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. This is
Okay.
really good. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot.
That's like after my mother died, I said I got closer to my dad in those 5 months. Heard him tell more stories than I ever heard all my life.
Hmm.
It was very interesting, but it was a good 5 months
Mhm.
I got to know my dad because he was quiet.
Yeah, who was who was your dad? Tell us about.
Well, he was the youngest of 8 kids. He didn't have much as a child. He had nothing really.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I think he
had
only
no
went,
home life at all.
no, I think he only went like maybe 4th grade.
From this area?
Yeah, yeah. His parents had all moved west. I mean, the family. And then his dad was the only one that came back to this area.
Okay.
And so, like I say, he was one of the youngest. And of course, there wasn't good living then.
Mm-hmm.
And like Ray's dad, he missed the service by just a very short period of time because he was born 1901.
Okay.
And by the time he was of draft age, he would miss the war. He wasn't drafted.
When was the war? The war was.
1917?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking later. I
Oh,
thought
no, the First World War.
No, I'm thinking it started later. I thought
Oh.
so. It ended about 1718.
A little over a year.
Yeah, somewhere. I'd have to look the dates up for sure.
Oh, okay. The whole U.S. only was in the war for about a year. That's right. Yeah.
So, but he was a hard-working, hands-on guy.
Had no education.
No education, and Mom was more what I want to say.
Dominated woman.
Basically, yeah.
Told him what to do.
Not to be mean, but she thought she knew well and was right, and what she tried to tell anybody to do or not to do, she thought it was for their own good instead of letting them think for themselves, you know.
Okay.
And so, you know, that didn't help Dad any to, as far as mechanicals bit or anything, because he never had any experience. He had nobody to go to, had no money to to buy anything new.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he was asking about the first tractor, and we had a team of horses to start with, you know.
Okay.
And Dad got this old John Deere, and it didn't have a starter. It had the old flywheel. You had to turn. And Dad would work and never would start. But he didn't know mechanically well enough to what might cause this, you know. Where Ray, you know, he'd figure out, well, you know, you have to do this or that, and Dad was just sit there and sweat it away. Yeah, he worked hard. And he worked for the gas company, but he walked right of ways, and he swung a size all day long, because that's the way they mowed it then, not with tractors. So yeah, he was a very hard-working man.
Now, did you know like his parents, your grandparents? You said you
No,
didn't?
not my mom and dad. On my dad's side, no, they were already were deceased. And as far as my mom and dad, on my mom's side, like I say, that wasn't a close family,
Okay.
so we didn't go to visit very often. Or anything.
What was your mother's maiden name?
Belle.
Belle. Okay.
Yeah. And they lived in St. Petersburg, which wasn't that far, but then for a while they lived in Pittsburgh too. And, like I say, just, I don't know, where it was all the family, where it was just, Mom wasn't a real social person. And she worked hard too. And I said Dad did. Mom was a very hard-working person too. She was out in the field, and she was in the barn, and, you know.
Bake bread and make butter.
Oh yeah, the day she died, she had a big pan of bread raising. Because they had a freezer, and she'd make 7 or 8 loaves, and they were big loaves. And of course, she had that accident. And,
With the truck, right? Wasn't she in?
and we went down to the house. I wasn't the first one at the house. Dolores was, and the bread had raised and went off the side and onto the table, you know. And I think that was her hurry to get back home that day. She was attempting to turn the pickup truck around because she'd gone up to the campground with Dad. And I really think she was in a hurry to get back because she knew that bread had to be taken care of. And that's when she had the accident. Which was kind of a freakish thing, because she was backing the truck up, and she must have hit the gas feed instead of the brake, and went back and hit a tall stump. That's what caused her death.
It hit the stump.
Hit that hard.
It hit hard enough to just break her neck and back.
Oh, so her head went backwards?
Yeah, it bent the
Bent the
seat.
frame of the
Oh,
truck.
yeah.
It bent the truck frame in a U shape.
Wow.
She hit that hard, but I think really she was pressing so hard, it was gas in it instead, you know.
Okay.
But she had told Dad she'd turn the truck around ready to go.
So she didn't die instantly. She did.
No, she lived to get to the hospital, but she was all broken up, her ribs and everything, you know.
Okay.
I got to talk to her just a little before she was pronounced dead, but yeah, she was pretty bad off.
Yeah, I can barely remember her. I think it was, 86, 85?
Yeah,
85.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which was, kind of an odd way to die. And of course, Dad, he had a bad heart and stuff, and he died at home too.
Okay.
5 months to the day.
Yeah. Wow.
It was right at Thanksgiving time. Of course, I had turkey and stuff in the refrigerator. And your mom and Sherry came out and got the turkey and fixed it all and everything. Fixed everything for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I always thought how precious they would go ahead and do that. Especially, Kim's a daughter-in-law, and, maybe she wouldn't feel comfortable, but she grabbed the turkey and
Finished it.
fixed Thanksgiving dinner. And
Her dad thought she was the best girl in the world, though.
That was his only girl.
Yeah. Yeah, only.
He had one brother, right?
3.
3, okay.
All older than me. So
Yeah.
I was very much of a tomboy.
I remember Guy. I don't know.
Guy, he was the oldest.
Okay.
And he's the one that visited the most.
Okay.
Now, Raymond lives over towards Greenville.
Okay.
And Bob, the one that died 2 years ago there. Now, as growing up, him and I was just like this.
Okay.
But our lives were so different after we got married that we
Didn't talk.
Then there was just no closeness after that.
No.
Okay.
His was more drinking and partying and carousing, and
Mm-hmm.
it just didn't fit in Ray and I, so
Okay.
made it completely different.
Hmm.
But yeah, we were well blessed. I mean, really, when I think back, got 3 good kids with good mates.
Mm-hmm.
So far, every one of the grandkids are really couldn't be prouder of you.
Hmm.
So but we're blessed. We think about it quite often.
Yeah.
We just, I don't know, you just look out and think, look how beautiful it is,
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had a breathing problem, that's another thing I thought, such a blessing to be able to breathe even.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think anything about it because it's natural, it's a common thing.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, like, wow, this is good, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, she wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for going to Pittsburgh.
yeah.
Couldn't
Yeah.
get her breath.
Yeah. It's common grace that
Mhm.
every man and woman receive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So really, don't really have complaints, do we? I don't,
Yeah.
anyways.
She's my pillar. I'd go in there and say something ain't right. I say, how's it going?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Grandpa, I remember, your dad, my great grandpa, when I'd go down to the visit, I always get those cookies with the orange frosting, those archway cookies. He'd always have those.
Isn't it funny, the little
Yeah.
things you remember like that?
Yeah.
On my side of the family, Dan especially,
Come on in.
he always remember Grandma Webb because he got a bowl of cereal.
Mhm.
Every time he went, he got a bowl of cereal. He remembered my mom because she had the big bread. That's what he remembered, the
Mhm.
Come on
big
in.
bread. so,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of neat how little kids think of something or
Yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
So it's important to give them memories.
Grandma, what advice would you give your grandkids or your great grandkids?
That is a hard one. First of all, I think our time span is so different. What was maybe right at our age, at that, back then, with all the technology nowadays, I find that a real hard question. Other than just to, give your life to the Lord and trust Him and obey your parents. Because
Mhm.
parents do give good advice.
Okay.
Though you don't realize it at the time, don't always agree,
Mhm.
But they do have the best interest, they really care and want the best for you. But like I say, I think it's awfully hard.
Yeah. Well, that's advice that bypasses technology.
Yeah, I think so. But life is
Give me
just so
5.
different now than they have so much to cope with that we didn't. Especially not to all the drugs, and life was so simple when we went out in the backyard and played, chased fireflies or something like that. Kinda,
See who could run the fastest.
Yeah.
not you.
Not me.
Okay.
Can you do 5 push-ups?
All
I
right.
was always the one to do the
I
run,
think
but
I
not
could do
Ray.
10.
That's what he said. I remember him saying you ran like a deer.
I ran all the time.
She did.
Just ran.
She
I
could
couldn't
outrun
walk
me.
to anything. I ran. And I was skinny then too. And now I quit running, see what happens.
Well, it's 22 inches.
Right.
Wasn't that
Well,
big?
thank you, Grandma.
I hope this helps you.
Oh, I really do think this will help. Thank you.
You're welcome.